Boys, we bloody love football, but we bloody love our Supercoach too. Brilliant to have you back. Episode 2, getting going now. Unreal scenes. I'm wearing my North Melbourne jumper like I do every time we do a podcast, and yeah, great to have you back on, boys. How are you, Archie? How are you, Dan?
Okay, mate, what's going on? Jesus Christ, you cannot be serious, can you?
Bloody oath.
Yeah, these two Collingwood supporters don't really like that, do we, actually?
Tradition, isn't
That's
it?
that's just taking it a bit too far, I think. But nah, I commend you for that, Butsy.
Yeah, thanks. So we've looked at our back lines. We look at the backs that we think are locks, risky. So moving on to today's episode, all about the forwards. And probably really, I reckon it's the biggest, something you really have to nail. Otherwise, you can have a long season. And I'd say probably suggest it's probably more there's a couple of interesting mid prices that we can have a talk about tonight. So I'll start with the locks, boys, and no one better. Probably I would say the best player of the last 3 or 4 years, Dusty Martin. Only because he's done what no one else has done. 2 premierships, 2 Norm Smiths, and a Brownlow in one of them years. Just brilliant. Absolute gun footballer. Very cheap in Supercoach this year, $540K. Come off probably a bit of a lean year. Still though, averaged 100, but no one really got around him because the fact was he was playing as a sole midfielder. Last year kicked a lot of goals, so has changed his status to a mid forward. Even kicked 6 in that semi-final up at Bris Vegas, where Brisbane absolutely choked, like they were always going to. Dusty brought him a flag. But yeah, boys, look at these numbers over the last 7 years. 102, 100, 105, 108, 119, 104, 100. There is averages over the last 7 years. And I think this bloke is the best player in football because he stands up in finals. And we know over the home and away season can get banged up. And we'll see what happens. But yeah, didn't really get tagged last year, I didn't think too much, did he?
Oh, he did at the start of the season. I know that because we all know the suspension he got with De Boer. But later on in the season he didn't, and that's when he started tearing it up in the midfield.
Yeah.
So I think, obviously what you're saying, he's a lock. I agree 100%. He's going to finish in the top 6, just about guaranteed. So yeah, you have to have him in your side. You'd be silly not to.
Yeah.
Yeah, look, he's a lock in my side, that's for sure. Is it worrying at all to you boys that last season we averaged 100 on the dot? Is that a worry for you, or giving his price and the dual status, there's no worry there, or you just go straight into like a set and forget sort of thing?
Yeah, completely. I reckon it's a set and forget. I think everyone's going to have him, so it really doesn't matter. The only way he's only going to hurt you. He's not really going to help you because everyone's going to have him. Same as Dangerfield last year. Everyone had him, so really no one even worried about what Supercoach scores he was getting. Even if he was getting 80s, everyone was going to keep him anyway. So yeah, he's one of the ones that Richmond play a lot of Thursday, Friday night games. You're not even going to look at his Supercoach score because it really doesn't mean much to you. But yeah, here's lock and get rid of the key because you're not going to get rid of him. He's going to average that 100, and even if he averages 95, you're still going to hold on to it for sure. And the other one I like, absolute smooth mover from the GWS Giants, and absolutely tore it apart on the All-Stars game the other day, and just shows you his kicking is one of the best kicks in the comp. Pretty expensive though, 611K, but yeah, the last 2 years average 100 and then 111 last year. But I love the fact that he just does not get tagged and no one cares how many possessions he gets.
Yeah, I agree there. He hadn't averaged 100 prior to last season. Obviously, it was a breakout season for him, averaging 111. I think he's probably the first pick. He was the first pick in my team for a good reason. Probably the best user in the AFL by some margin. He'll hit targets. Giants love to spread the footy, which helps him with his running game, and being able to hit those 40-metre targets is crucial for Supercoach, because if you turn the ball over, obviously you lose points, but I don't think he'll turn the footy over very often. He might find himself in the midfield at some time, which is going to obviously help his score. He was my first pick, and I think a lot of teams had him first picked. Absolute no-brainer.
Just got to hope he's healthy and plays more than 16 games this year.
Yeah,
that's the only thing we can ask for.
That's the only knock.
And he'll definitely finish top 6 if he's healthy. So and probably definitely a block.
The good thing about that too, Dan, is it was an impact injury last year. He did his collarbone, so you can't sort of say someone's injury prone if they're breaking bones, really. If it's more your muscles, or unless they continually keep breaking their leg or something. But yeah. So a mid-pricer that I'm really, and I know Dan's not all over this one, but I love Devon Smith. 330k is an absolute mid-pricer around that 300 mark. 2018 won their best and fairest in a pretty good year for Essendon. They pretty sure they made finals or just missed out. Averaged 98.
They made finals.
They did make finals 2 years ago.
They got knocked out. No, they made finals last year too.
Oh, okay, yep. He averaged 98. Had a brilliant year. I was reading an article today actually, and Gary Lyon from SEN and Fox Footy thinks that he's easily Essendon's most important player. He was that impressed from his season in 2018. We know that the only reason he really left the Giants, one of the main reasons anyway, was the fact that he wasn't getting that midfield time that he deserved. But yeah, showed it straight away. As soon as he went to Essendon, 2018, bang, put him in the guts. And he's just I wouldn't say he's blessed with skills or fitness. Like I wouldn't say he's overly quick or anything like that. But he's just a footballer and just knows where to go, knows how to get the footy, just does the right things. He's just a really, really solid player. You know what you're going to get from him. Played his first Marsh Cup game, 20 touches, 6 tackles and a goal, which is pretty handy. I think it was like 90 Supercoach points, but I'll take that from someone 330k. The thing that's a little bit worrying is he played 7 games last year. Played injured most of those 7 games because he played the first 4, missed round 5 injured, and then come back. And after that third one, they're like, "No, we're calling you for the season. There's no point. You're not going to get anywhere with this." And then we obviously know how their season panned out. Are you guys looking at him because he's in my team?
For me, he's an absolute. I can't believe Dan hasn't gone with him. I'm with you, Butsy. I think he's an absolute certainty for my team if he can stay healthy. I think he can get back to that 96 average, which he done in 2018. He's currently my F3, which is a bit risky, but I don't think there's a lot of value in the forwards this year. So if he can get to that 90, as I said, 96 average, he's a very handy F3 especially at that price. He might start the season off strong, hopefully, and then you can sort of upgrade him to a Walters, or if you're leaving Martin out, you can upgrade him to a Martin. So I think he's very, very crucial to a lot of Supercoach teams this season.
Yeah, well, the reason I haven't selected him is that I'm not a big fan of mid-prices because I think they're the players that usually burn you. So I generally stick to primos and rookies. With him too, though, I'm not a big fan because did any of you guys catch his first Marsh game?
No,
I didn't.
No. Well, the first half had no time in the midfield. I think he tended one centre bounce, didn't go back in. I think he wouldn't have scored more than 40 points in that first half. I think might have even been in the 20s. And then he got the midfield minutes in the second half, and he managed to score 60 for the second half. So, and that's the issue I have with him because I don't think he's going to get enough midfield time because they rotate so many players at Essendon through the guts. I don't think he's going to get enough time. I think he's going to play probably on the forward flank. They've got Langdon, they've got Shield, Heppel, Merritt. They even chucked Stringer, Tipper, and then they put in McGrath as well. So, yeah.
Do you think they didn't play him in the midfield purely because of the fact it was his first game in probably a year or so, just get him touch the footy?
My exact point.
I have heard that, but I'd rather spend an extra 70k to get someone that I could hold for the year because I don't think Devon Smith is going to end up being a player you keep for the full year. It might make you 150k, but I'd rather just have a rookie and then instead of Devon Smith, have a primo that's going to stay on my team.
I'm just very bullish about him because I think his first year at Essendon, he tore it up. Obviously, as Butchie said, he won their BNF, playing that midfield role. I think he went forward and kicked a few goals. If I'm correct, I just think if he can, I think he will play midfield. I think with Worsfold gone, I think is it Rutten taking the helm now at the Dons?
Soon, yeah.
At the end of the year.
And this how it is still Worsfold, yeah. I just think he's a good footballer. He's a solid footballer. If he plays and he's fit, he will get you those 90s. I think so. I'm all over him. I agree with Matt 100%. I think he has to be in your team.
Well, you are basing it off one season as well. His seasons before were nearly below 80. So
because he wasn't playing that midfield time with the Giants, so was he? He was playing more
at the price he is. He's still a good pick because he's still going to make you cash, but he's just not in my plans. I don't want to have him in my side, then trade him later on.
I really honestly can't see him playing forward. Like you look at their small forwards already. Tip and Woody, Stringer, that Irish fella, one of the Irish boys. Is he even Irish? I don't know. But they've got 3 or 4 really good small forwards. I'd nearly call. I can't see him playing forward. I can see him playing on a wing, but I'm pretty sure he's going to be straight in the guts. Even if he averages 90, you've got to remember you've only paid $330K for him, and someone averaging 90 is probably even going to be a top 10 forward, which we see most seasons.
I agree. Yeah, 100%.
Forwards don't average that many points. Like look at Heaney last year; would have averaged around that 90 mark. He was like a top 5, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's why, I like him. But we'll see how we go. Another interesting one, and I've just realised because I haven't looked at my Supercoach team for a week, but I've got Jade Gresham in there, and I'm actually I'm really looking forward to what this kid can do because Brent Harvey actually really rates him as a player and always has. But Brent Harvey actually played against his old man. And he played against Jade Gresham, which is phenomenal, which is actually really, really cool stat. But yeah, last season played 19 games, averaged 85 points, and I was doing some research, played 60% midfield, 40% forward. And there's been a lot of articles, especially from St Kilda, how they're going to chuck him, they want him to play 80% midfield, 20% forward. So it's a really big switch in there. I can see him averaging at least 90 points. I reckon he's going to be averaging around that 95. You're paying $450 for him. It's a point of difference in your team. Apparently he's had a ripping pre-season, even got a crack in that. Don't know how because he's not even in the top 100 footballers. But he got a crack in the All-Stars game. I'm really looking forward to what this kid can do.
It's certainly an interesting one, Butsy, because obviously last year he got introduced to the midfield, which is only going to help him for this season. I haven't really thought about him until you just mentioned him then. But obviously they've got Steele as that tagging role. Ross Spillings is also heading into that midfield as well. Obviously Brad Hill is more of a wingman, but he might find himself floating through the midfield. Luke Dunstan, a lot of these okay midfielders. Hanbury if he's fit, so there might be midfield opportunities for him there, but I don't think I see him as a permanent midfielder. I think his skills down forward are coming packs, and he's got a good pair of hands, good set shot, good finish. So I think the Saints really need him down forward, especially losing Josh Bruce. I know they're 2 different players, but if they take Gresham out of there goes that sort of firepower down forward that they really need. But certainly an interesting one. What are your thoughts there, Dan?
Well, they did pick up a couple of players through the draft. They did pick up Dan Butler and Paddy Ryder. So
Zach Jones.
I'm pretty certain. Yeah, Jones. Well, Jones might play on a wing as well.
Jones, yeah, he's more of a half-back flanker, isn't he?
Yeah. So I still think Jay Gresham's going to get midfield time, and I think he's one of the better players on the Saints list. I've got him in my side currently. I've had him just about since that first game he played because, he looked good, and that's what you got to see. It's not always about the score; it's what they look like. It's a bit more of an eye test than seeing how much they score. You got to see how they play in that role, and because he lights it up, you kind of think, well, if he plays this for a full game, he could easily go 100 plus, or he could finish 90 plus for the year.
So what are your risks like? What are your down parts of him? Like the fact that he's raw to a midfield position, or do you think
he's not going to be he's not going to be permanently there? And if they lose Crops in the forward line, he's going to move back as a forward.
Move who?
Like they'll move Gresham to forward line. If they lose some players in the forward line, they'll have to put him back and they'll slide someone else in the midfield. But if they remain healthy, I think he'll play plenty of time in midfield.
Is there someone you're looking forward to making a bit of cash? If he gets
he's there for a primo. He's primo price.
Okay, yep.
That's who I've got besides Devon Smith. That's who I have as forward 3 at the minute.
Yeah, but you make good points. I don't know. I just think it's a risk to go for that price forward with a few question marks. I'd rather a player established in the midfield. That's got that forward option. Is definitely good footballer, very talented. But I'll probably want to see more from him before I make a decision to put him on my team.
Yeah, fair enough.
So I've actually just traded. I've been trading Gresham and this other fella out for the last 2 weeks, and I've actually put him back in again. 412k, tattooed man, Aboriginal, Indigenous boy. Absolute,
don't you dare say his name.
Absolute gun from.
Don't you dare say his name.
From the Adelaide Hills, Chad Lee Wingard.
Oh no!
And
you've got to be kidding me.
Good luck with that pick.
He's an absolute risk. Don't get me wrong, he's a risk, but I'm a risky person and I love a risk. And
yeah,
he has some really good stats. Last year, played 14 games, played just that small forward role, had a lot of soft tissue injuries throughout the year, averaged 76. Really, and I watched him play plenty of games. They just wanted to get him through the season because they weren't making finals. He was already half injured, wasn't fit at all. He's had a brilliant preseason. Last week went to we'll talk about last year. In the last 6 weeks of the season last year, averaged 25 possessions when he went into the midfield. You can question his injury status, but last year was the first time since I think 2011 when he debuted that he's played under 18 games, so I don't think you can really question that. In 2017-2018, averaged 93 and 89. Never then was he a permanent midfielder. Would probably play half-half. I've read an article today, really nice article. Jaeger O'Meara, absolutely excited by him. Has been training with the midfield group all pre-season. In the Marsh game, he only played 50% game time, so 2 quarters, pretty much 2 full quarters. Got 15 possessions, was in centre bounces, even though that Warple, O'Meara, Mitchell, Shields, everyone was playing. The fact is he attended the same amount of centre bounces, and you can laugh at me, but I reckon if this guy can very easily average 95, and if he averages 95, then I'm keeping him in my team, and it's an absolute steal at 412k. It's a big risk, but I think if that risk can turn into a massive reward for me.
Oh, Butsy. Look, you make some fair points, but at the end of the day, I think every player at this point is having a wonderful pre-season. Like, there's that many articles going around that players are saying how good other players are going, and they're lighting the track up. I'm just really worried about his engine and his ball use, and his tendency to go missing in games for long periods of time is a real worry. He might score you 140, 3 times a season, but he also might score you 40 3 times a season. I don't think it's worth the risk. He's a wonderful footballer, but I don't think he's a Supercoach player anymore. I'll be happy if you reap the rewards off him. I'll be the first one to say you told me so. But at this point, he's not even getting a look in.
I reckon you're spot on, actually. I agree with everything you said. He can have these big electrifying moments in games where he's going to score points and then he goes missing. And that's the thing he's probably had most of his career. So, yeah, no, I agree with you. I will not be looking at him either.
Fair enough.
It's okay, Matt. Jesus.
Moving on. Who are we going to, Danny boy?
Oh, well, first I'd like to talk about someone that finished as the second highest average for the forward line. Well, he's the second highest to start the year, and that's Michael Walters. I don't know what you guys think of him, but after averaging 100.8 and finishing with 12 tons, I see him as a bit of a risk. I see that they're going to be playing a lot of younger blokes in the midfield this year, and I think he's going to lose some midfield time. However, last year he probably got most of his points from playing in the forward line because their leading goal scorer. But he's not really someone I'm looking at the selection for his current price because he is priced quite high. He's priced more than Dustin Martin. So he's not someone I've planned for myself. What do you boys think?
Yeah, look, if my team structure was having 3 premium forwards, he'd be well in the conversation. I think he's probably, apart from Fife, I think he is probably he's the second best Fremantle footballer. Probably the most damaging. I know Fife can go forward and change a game, but I think Walters is a full package. I think he uses the ball extremely well. He seems to have a good engine for a midfield player. Obviously, he goes forward. He's got a great set of hands, great set shot. The only reason why he's like my team because I think the forwards is very slim, and I don't want to take him midfield and Martin, and then go short on midfield. I think, but if you're going to go him over Martin, I don't see any argument as to why you wouldn't do that.
Really?
Yeah, I think he's an absolute freak.
He is. He's an absolute star. But
I think
based on previous history, he's the highest average he had before this year was 88, and everything obviously below that. He had 2 years before this year that was 87.
And same with Martin. His last 2 years have been down from his previous one, so there's an argument for both sides here. I think Walters is on the increase. I think 2016, 2017, 2018, he didn't see much midfield time. Last season he did, and he played some good footy. I think he's just one of them players you can just back in for 95 plus each week. I think if he kicks 2 goals a game, has 20 touches, there's your 90 already. So I think he certainly is in my thoughts. Because obviously I'm going with Dust. I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of blokes do pick him.
I can't believe.
What do you reckon,
I can't believe they even put them two in the same discussion. Actually.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, Dusty is head and toes above him.
Easy.
Dusty will average 105 this year. Walters could easily average that. Don't get me wrong, but far out. They are completely different players, and you're basing this off one football season. No, completely got it wrong, mate. So, who's up to next, Dan?
I was going to talk briefly on Gary Ablett. Obviously, he's in the twilight of his career. Now he only plays forward time, so you're not going to really have a look at him. And he's sitting really high in price, so I'd stay clear of him. Even though he averaged 95 last year, I would not be looking at picking him up. I believe he'll finish around the 80s. I don't even think he'll make 90 this year, even though that's his lowest, is 95.
Did he average 95 last year?
He averaged 95.
Whoa, that's phenomenal.
Very, very inconsistent scores. He had many highs and many lows. So, yeah, he's not someone on my radar. Obviously, you guys haven't had a look at him, have you?
No, mate. He couldn't be any further from my team, that's for sure.
Well, I tried... Sorry.
No, you're right. You go.
I tried really, really hard to bring him in last year, this time of the year, and just couldn't get it to couldn't do it. And obviously paid off dividends, but he's one of my favourite players to watch.
Oh, yeah, definitely. No doubt about it.
Yeah, I just if you're going to take Supercoach seriously this season, I don't think you can pick him.
You can't even look at him. No.
You know, started last year, he was fit and he was playing midfield, but then got a couple of niggles, and you just didn't see him going through that midfield. And when he did, he wasn't scoring those scores like we've known Gazza to score. But yeah, look, I also think he's capable of kicking 50 goals a season, having those 20 touches. But yeah, it's not the risk I'm willing to take at this point.
Yeah, I think he's going to miss a lot of games too, because during last year he might have played 21 games. He then, obviously was injured during the finals. He was just because he's an old boy. I don't think he's going to play 22 games this year. I think they'll rest him up a bit if they don't need to play against someone like the Suns or Carlton. They just won't.
No, I agree with that one. Yep.
Now I'm going to talk about another bloke that I know Butler used to have in his team. I don't think he has him anymore, but that'd be Toby Green. He's burnt me last year. I think me and Butler both had him. We had to trade him out as soon as he got injured at the start of the year. But yeah, played 16 games last year with an average of 93, helped by the injuries to the Giants mids. Everyone knows he had that unreal second half of the year when he played predominantly midfield. He was scoring unbelievable from round 17 to 22. All of them were tons. I think there was only one under 110. So I'm still not convinced in picking him. I don't think he has the reliability of some other players, especially at his price. I think he's priced to third, it'd be the fourth highest. He played 16 games last year. The year before he played 7, and the year before that he played 16. So, yeah, it's not someone I want. I don't want someone playing 16 games because they're injured or they're, copping suspensions. And I don't think he's going to, at the price he is, that's midfield price. He's not going to be a midfielder this year. He's definitely going to be playing in the forward line. They're getting all their mids back, and he's a gun in the forward line. So I don't think he's going to get anywhere near what he scored last year. What do you boys think?
I agree. I got burnt by him the last probably 3 seasons, I reckon. He's just so talented at the start of the year. Like he has a great preseason. He says he's changing. He's not going to get suspended. But I think he's missed probably four games tops in the last 3 seasons. Probably more than 4 a couple of seasons ago. Look, there's no doubt his ability, but yeah, I think he'll probably average somewhere in the 80s, and for that price, it's just not worth the risk. He might get you a game where he kicks 6 and get you 140 points, but he also might, get 1 goal and 10 touches, and then he's score you 50. So I think there's better options around that price, and I think Jeremy Cameron's probably a better option than Toby Green in my opinion. But I'm saying well clear of Toby Green. That's for sure.
Yeah, I've looked at him closely. Had him in there for a little bit. Again, probably it's just that forward setup, but it would not surprise me if 6 weeks into the season I upgraded a rookie to Toby Green. I think he's a phenomenal talent. I don't think he's going to play that much midfield this year, but I'm not basing that off. I'm not basing his picking up off last year's form at all, because I thought he was really, really solid in the. I thought he was really solid in the midfield, but it was a few years ago. 2017, played 16 games, averaged 96, and I thought he was just phenomenal. The way he played that midfield, played that role. If we can get him to an average 90, 95, you'd nearly take him, because again, remember we're talking about the forward line, low averages. But yeah, there's plenty of other better options at the moment for that.
It's just the price tag. If he's lower price, you'd probably think of him. But at that price tag, you want him to average over 100. He's the 4th highest in price. He's over 500k.
Yeah.
That's just my thoughts anyway.
Yeah, nice.
Put it this way: if you put him in as an F3, you're gonna have to downgrade one of your primo midfielders to like a similar price, and I don't think it's worth the gamble. I think you're better off taking the 60,000 extra to go Clayton Oliver. He'll probably obviously get you average 15 points more. So I think I'm going to stay clear of him, to be honest.
Yeah, nice, great call.
Yeah, good at you. Next, I'll just touch on quickly. He was a lock in my side at the start of the season, but after having surgery on a broken thumb, that'd be Isaac Heaney. I expected this guy to just come out flying in the preseason. I expected him to have a bit more mid-time after the last few years because he's averaged in the 90s the last couple of years. So I figured, he only needs a little bit of push to get to that ton, and he hasn't been getting a lot of midfield minutes. I was pretty disappointed. He would have been in my side if there was no injury, but he'll be definitely someone to look at during the year as an upgrade target if he's flying. What do you boys think?
He's firmly in my plans come round 3 and 4. I think he's someone you can definitely upgrade. Probably the only player you probably want to upgrade to if you're looking to get that bit extra bit of the price he's at. He won't go up or down if he's not playing. So I think at that 5'10", you'd be silly not to upgrade him at some point in the year because he will get that midfield time when fit. He threatened last year to have a breakout season. Didn't quite manage that. He played all 22 games, which is a good sign. Obviously, he doesn't get injuries. Obviously, apart from this one he's got now. It's only a thumb, which means he's going to keep the leg ticking over. He's going to be fit still, which I think is a good sign. He's a freak, absolute freak of a player. So I think he's firmly an upgradable option.
I agree, completely agree. But he is a player that we've all thought was going to be an absolute one of the stars of the AFL. And I know he's still young. I'd say, he's 22, 23 now. But everyone's been waiting for him for 3 years, and he has not come of age. Same as Callum Mills. I don't think they've improved like we all thought they would. But yeah, I'd say he's probably going to be that 5 to 6, 7 ranked forward by the end of the year. I can't see him playing much midfield time early first half of the season because Buddy Franklin's not going to be playing. And who else are they going to have in their forward line? They've got no one.
Sam Reid.
Yeah, I like him as that second tall, third tall down there when Buddy's out.
Speaking of Callum Mills, he killed that game the other night, the Origin game. I thought he played really well.
Yeah, he did. Did well on the back flank. But
look, I think if Heaney can get that midfield time, I think he's an absolute no-brainer. But as Dan said, that injury couldn't have come at a worse time for Supercoach players. Especially with the thought of him, especially with everyone thinking he's going to obviously break out, as Matt just said. But I think, you probably got to stay clear for him the next couple of weeks, I think.
Yeah, as Butler says, we haven't had that breakout that we've wanted from Heaney, but he still finishes around the top mark. So, you're not really too disappointed. You just had higher expectations. Someone I will touch on that probably you guys haven't even thought of, Hugh Greenwood, the ex-Adelaide midfielder, is now at the Suns. And I think he's promised a lot of midfield time, which is where he scores most of his points. He played in the first Marsh game and scored 109 in 82% game time, which is basically a full game. But I don't think he'll get moved out of that midfield at the Suns. He was competing with people like, the Crouch brothers, Salone, and he averaged 84, 86. I reckon he's easy able to average 90 plus this year.
I'll tell you what, he will smash their BNF. I think he'll win it by a country mile. I think he's an absolute freak.
He's a big contested beast, and I think he'll easily average 90 plus. He can easily average an extra 4 points from last year playing with the blokes that he played in Adelaide. He's going to have a lot more time in that midfield. Yeah. What do you reckon, Butts? Have you looked at him?
No, I haven't at all, and I don't think I will. Again, hasn't averaged over 86 in a year. Played 14 games last year. He's a very injury-prone footballer. This is his third season of AFL. I just can't.
Yeah, he's a mature age.
I can't see him. Yeah, just can't see him averaging over 90. To be honest, and he's costing $470K. How can you justify spending that money on him?
I think he's got the opportunities there at the Suns.
It's reminded me a lot of Anthony Miles when he went from Richmond to. I think everyone jumped on his bandwagon when he moved from Richmond to the Suns a couple of years back for a good reason. I think Miles had a great season his first season at the Suns, getting that midfield time he desired. So I don't see any exception why Greenwood can't replicate the sort of form he had when he went to the Suns.
Do you not think he'll average 90 plus bucks?
No.
Fall from his average
and
last year.
You've got to think too, Gold Coast aren't going to win many games.
No, but that's not where he gets points from. He gets contested footy.
Contested ball,
He doesn't get outside. He doesn't get outside.
No, but you get scaled back. You look at, I'll give you an example. You look at Carlton at the start of last year. One player was getting 120 points a game in Crips. No one else was getting 100 because they've got to share the points around. They've only allocated like 2,400 points for both teams on each game, right? And if the opposition wins by 40, 50, 60, 70 points, they get like 60, 70% of the total Supercoach points for the whole game for both teams.
In saying that, but Gold Coast don't have a Crips type to get that 160 what the Crips can get. Look, who's going to kill for the Suns apart from Swallow, who won't get that gets under 100? There aren't many players that are going to take that quota away from Greenwood.
But I don't think he's good enough to get that quota anyway. And the fact that they're going to lose games is just too risky for that price. $470K, come on.
Look, he's creating a lot of discussion. I've had a couple of chats with a couple of other people, and some of them have family heavy on him, and some haven't considered him. So he's one of those players that's going to probably decide most league games, I think, this season.
Yeah, well, fair enough. We've all got different opinions, so we'll just see what happens. I think he could average 90 plus. Next, we'll move on with the big talking player from the Marsh series is Christian Petrarca, or as some people call him, Petrappa, one of Butler's favourite players for this pre-season.
I'll tell you what, this is a joke.
Everyone's been expecting him to jump to like elite status, and everyone's jumping on him after that first Marsh series game where he scored 188 Supercoach points, where he had 38 disposals and he had over 20 contested with 3 goals. And he looked good. He looked good when he played, and he only played through the guts, so obviously his tank's getting a little better. I'm still not convinced. I'm still not convinced, actually. I'm still not convinced. But if he was to do the same thing again, surely he's getting more midfield time.
The thing you got to put, Petrarca has looked good since day one, hasn't he? He looks like an absolute beast, and then you see him play, and it's a completely different story in my opinion. I think he has the biggest talent in the world, but in my opinion, he'll be another Jack Watts type. I don't think he'll live up to the expectation that everyone's put on him. I think he'll be a liability if people pick him. I think because very similar to Wingard. He might score you that 140, but he'll score you a lot of 40s and 50s and 60s. So I hadn't even considered him. I don't know about Butsy. Butsy's very bullish on this kind of blokes. I don't know why.
No, I'm standing well clear. I've been thinking about it. I picked up the boy that broke your hearts in 2018.
No, don't say it.
Say what?
Who it is?
I picked him up after he had 40 possessions and 44 possessions in 2 Marsh Cup games this time last year, and come out still did alright and averaged 92 or something, or maybe even more. But he was a midfielder primo for me, and I couldn't justify keeping him. He'll be very easy for me to pick up if he's 500k in 6 weeks' time.
Yeah, fair enough, Butsy.
Maynard was blocked, boys.
What was that, actually?
Maynard was blocked.
Oh, yeah, definitely. All right. I'll move on because, we'll get stuck talking about him all night. We'll touch on someone that's just like Devon Smith, a fallen primo, Jack Stephen. Jack Stephen, I believe, has a higher ceiling than Devon Smith. If Jack Stephen was healthy, I think I would take him over Devon Smith. But yeah, we got to see some evidence through Marsh series. If he doesn't play, obviously don't select him. But this guy can easily average over 100 if he's given the chance to play in the Cats midfield. And after losing Tim Kelly, he's got a good chance. Because Jolasala doesn't run through anymore, Gaz doesn't run through anymore, and Dangerfield barely runs through if he's playing forward time. So they've got a lot of good small forwards down in Geelong. So if Stephen can play and he's fit, he'll get a lot of opportunity to score. And only sitting at 361k is a pretty handy selection for someone that could go easily over 90 plus. What do you guys reckon?
Yeah, well, Dan, you and I spoke about this earlier. Yeah, I think it's a very good option. What was that? 2014, 2015. You average 104 and 103. I think it was in everyone's team in those back in those days. If you can get back to that sort of stuff, I think is a no-brainer. Butsy?
No, I can't say I've considered him at all.
Is that because of injury and the mental health issues, or?
Yeah, and I can't see him playing much. Yeah, I would just say more the last couple of years. We haven't seen his best footy for 4 or 5 years, I don't think.
Yeah, fair enough, Butsy. All right, I'll move it on to the rookies and we'll finish this up, boys. Isaac Rankin, former pick 3. Lock him in if he's playing round 1. He's sitting at 123k, so he's heavily discounted, and he'll be a star in the forward line. Like, he's not going to score you consistently like above 70s or anything, but if he's playing round 1, then he'll play 22 games.
I've got 3 words for you, Butsy. Set and forget.
Completely. Don't even have to talk about that one.
Yeah. Well, Max King. You don't like the looks of Max King, do you, Butsy?
No, you don't. You got to stand clear of rookie key forwards. It's pretty much a rule in Supercoach. Don't go near a key forward.
Yeah, well, but the thing is, like, let's say Max King, right? You know, it's probably round 5. He has a couple of good games. You know, he might get a couple of 90s because he's kicked 3 or 4 goals. And that shoots up his price heaps. You only need to have 3 games to move up heavily in price. So then you trade him out. Plus, he's going to be a consistent player in that team. So you've always got that security. So if I don't have a better option, obviously, I will have Max King on my side. What do you reckon, Atchie?
Yeah, he's in my team purely based on the fact that he had a good JLT game. And apparently he's playing okay. He's had a good pre-season.
He scored 46 in 82% game time.
So the practice match, I think he kicked 4.
Yeah.
In the intra-club, which is that's not much to go by, but it's better than anything I've got around that price at the moment with rookie rise. So he's in my team, but you know, come round 1. Who the Saints got key forwards wise? Because you got
well, you got Ryder.
Obviously got Paddy Ryder and Membry. So
they've said he'll play round 1.
Oh well, if he's playing, you know, it's you got to start the rookies. You got to start rookies that are going to get some game time, and I think he'll get game time. He'll make you some price. He might not score the big hundreds, but I think if he can get 70s, 80s, you know, he'll make you some good cash. So I think he's an okay pick.
Yeah. Another one I'll touch on that you have to have in your side if he's playing round 1, which it looks like he will be selected, is Connor Buderick, who's at 106k and he's a dual position player. He scored 74 in 85% game time. So if he's playing round 1, make sure you have him.
I tell you what, I was hoping you both will mention him because I've got him.
Everyone's going to have him if he's playing.
Yeah, I can't believe it. I've had him since bloody day 1. No one else had mentioned him until his good game in the JLT, and now sort of he's been the centre of attention. We've become rookies forwards lately.
Oh, yeah. And another rookie that's actually... He gets a lot of talk for someone with a small sample size, and that would be Irving Mosquito. He played in his first Marsh game, and he scored 26 from 30% game time. So that's a bit of a warning sign there. He only played 30% game time.
I can't see him.
If he's playing 30% game time, he's not in their best 22. Is that what you're going to say, Butsy?
Yeah, I can't see him fitting into that forward line. Tip and Woody, Stringer, and the other little one.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think he's probably going to get a gig round one, so we'll have to look at someone else.
I don't think he'll play game of AFL footy. I haven't seen much. I haven't seen enough of him to even think about putting him in my team at this stage. I don't think he'll even get a game, to be honest.
Yeah,
I don't think
he's a big question mark. He's electric, but yeah, it's just if he can be consistent. Because I know he had trouble with his tank last year, which is why they never pulled him into senior footy. So yeah, it'll be someone to look at, but I don't think he'll be playing round one. And the last two I'll talk about are two ruck forwards that may be an option in the forward line, which is Darcy Cameron for Collingwood and Tristan Zeri. Is that how you say it, boys?
Cherry.
Yeah, that sounds about right, yeah.
Cherry.
I'm pretty bad with the names, but I got that one, Butsy.
No, Cherry.
Cherry, there you go. So,
spare me.
Yeah, for North Melbourne, so Butsy should know. These guys scored really well in the Marsh game. Darcy Cameron scored 127 and Tristan scored 98. So obviously these guys probably aren't going to play round one. We'd like to see them play round one, but it's probably not going to happen because these two teams already have a big forward and a ruck. So there's no way they're going to chuck another forward ruck into a side. They're not going to have three playing.
As a Pie fan, Dan, I think I'd love to see Darcy Cameron line up round one. I think he'll just. I know Mason Cox is he's still up and coming, very exciting when he's up and about. I just think Cameron will offer more. I think he's got a great set of hands. You know, he can kick more than 30 metres. Look, I
think you're right. But I don't think Buckley's going to play him.
I think that flog from USA, the arrogant bloke, he is only playing because of that preliminary final. Literally, he's done nothing since.
No, I fully agree. I think Cock has a lot of room to improve, and then so is Cameron. He's only played one game of AFL footy. So I think if Cameron runs up round one, I won't be unhappy at all. I'll be very pleased. He'll be in my team for sure. If Grundy needs a backup ruck, which I don't think he does, but Grundy does 90% of as it is. With Ben Reid coming towards the end of his career, I think it's a perfect time for Cameron to make a stand and be in the top 22 for most of the season. If he does, he can be a very, very good option.
It'll be a good downgrade target.
And I'd put him
during the season.
I'd put him in the ruck as well. I'd put him in that ruck spot. Depends how you go about it. If you're looking for someone who just plays Sundays for a captain, but we saw last year that Riley from Adelaide, he made some people lots of money where no one else made money there.
That's right. Those ruck forward, like if you have a player playing in the ruck, you're basically set because they score so many points, and that's the shame this year in the forward line. We don't have those. We don't have Marshall. We don't have Lycett. We don't have these players that are consistently going to score you around 80 plus 90 or even more.
Just on your point with that Sunday thing, Matt, I've currently got Darcy in my forward, and I've got Comben, who have also from North, because North have 12 Sunday games this season. Yeah. So I think if you can loophole if you loophole option, I think that Comben. I don't think he'll play. I think Cherry's going to get a first crack if anyone does. So I think having Comben as a backup ruck and Cameron in your forward backup, I think you can play that loophole to effect with the 12 game Sunday games that North do have.
Yeah, I think I'd rather have Tristan though myself, and then just the loophole, like switch between Darcy and Tristan forward ruck if they were both.
And it's a very and then here's a chance to get games as well. Very, very easy to make a little bit of money off him too if Goldie gets injured or we.
Well, if Cherry plays, he'll be my team. Whereas Comben won't be obviously getting the game, so he'll be.
They're the same price though, aren't they? I think they're both 123k. So I'd rather take the one that has a chance of playing sometime in the year.
Yeah. Absolutely.
If they're on the same team.
Could you go both of them? If Cherry played, could you put Cherry in your forward and have Comben as a backup ruck for loophole?
Well, you could. Yeah, you definitely could.
The only way I can see Cherry playing is if Goldie did a knee or something, like Goldie got injured.
Yeah, because they've still got Brown and they already have a fair few tools down there. So, yeah, that probably sums up the forwards, lads.
One more bloke if I can. Cockatoo. If he's obviously
he's injured.
Injured, yeah. But at some stage, will he be a pickup?
No, he's too risky. He can't get his body right.
Stay clear of Cockatoo.
Yeah, stay
well,
clear.
if he's got 2-3 games in, then you probably select him because he's going to move up then. But I don't think he'll get through 3 games. So
the only reason
I think he's a no.
There's one guy you haven't mentioned is Aiden Bonner.
Yeah, I thought we'd do that in the midfield since he's going to play in the midfield. We might talk about him then.
All good, boys.
No worries. Good to see you. Good to listen to you.
Thanks, fellas.
Love the night.
Thanks, Botsy.
Good on you. I'll catch you next week where we are doing an episode on the mids and rucks. Good on you, boys. Have a good one.
You too, boys. Ta.